Good morning, brave Tarnished, and welcome back to the channel. I am Amalgam Ash, and today I'm excited to share, it's not exactly news, but I'm excited to share that the Pledge Manager is now open for Elden Ring, the board game. This was successfully funded through its Kickstarter campaign. If you were a backer, you now have access to the Pledge Manager, and you are able to finalize your order, as well as add on any optional cosmetic items that they added to their availability after the end of the campaign. If you did not yet get a chance to back this, or you didn't have the means to do so, rest assured the Pledge Manager will be open for a few months, according to the product owner, Sherwin, and we will get reportedly plenty of warning before we no longer have access to the Pledge Manager. So if this is something that you'd like to plan for, save up for a little bit, because it is a substantial amount of money in the board game space. There's a lot of content here available for you, so it can add up. Then you do have the opportunity to do that, which is absolutely lovely. You can take a look. I'll put a link in the description below to the Pledge Manager, and you can look through all of the content, which it's all here. Everything that was in the Kickstarter campaign is here, ready for you to peruse and add to an order. But we're going to go through and check to see what those things are. We're going to talk a little bit about SteamForged games, some statements that they've released concerning some missteps they took in the past, as well as what they're learning from this campaign. And we will, of course, go over the updates that have occurred since my last video on Elden Ring, the board game. So the first bit of news here in the updates is, of course, the Pledge Manager is now open. If you were a backer, your email invitation from GameFound should have arrived, and this is a third-party website where you'll have to go to finalize your order. It's not phishing or scam or anything like that. It's an official avenue. But this right here, Blythe, the half-wolf, I have to say, absolutely fantastic addition. By popular request, they've now added Blythe, the half-wolf, as a bonus unlock to every core and all-in pledge. Half-man, half-wolf, often found howling in the Mistwood Ruins, Blythe is one of the early NPCs you'll encounter if you wander to the east in the video game. If you already pledged at the core or all-in level, or if you upgrade to one of these levels in the Pledge Manager, Blythe will automatically be added to your pledge for free. This is free, and this is gameplay content. How exactly we will interact with this NPC might be very, very similar to how we act with Alexander. So it's not exactly known what the mechanics of the NPC interactions are, but it's been hinted at from Sherwin that these could be good interactions or bad interactions, or could lead to bad things or good things, depending on how you choose to interact with the NPC. And that does scream to me that a lot of time and respect was paid to the IP, because that is exactly the kind of experience that you'll get in the video game. If you mistreat Blythe, you could be mistreated yourself. By the way, Blythe is one of the best top-tier husbandos in the game. I know that this is not a point that's going to be relevant to everybody. Elden Ring has got a ton of great waifu material. If you're a filthy weeb like myself, you have so many options to choose from. There's Ranni with her many arms and blue skin and doll-like appearance. There's Malenia with her scarlet rot eating her away. She's got a cool helmet. There is Milena, who gives you an entire accord. The whole car. What year is the car? It doesn't matter. It's a free car. She offers you an accord. Take it. But in a game just teeming to the brim with waifus. And for those wondering, I'm a Millicent man. I absolutely love Millicent. She is the best girl Millicent. Blythe the Half-Wolf represents not just a severe shortage of husbandos, but is kind of a culmination of so many of what could be great husbando choices, yet combined. Look at his perfect form, his wolf head. It's moving on. I guess Patches could count if you're, an idiot. Spirit Ashes. This is something to be very, very excited about. This is not part of the pledge tiers. This is something that is cosmetic and entirely optional. It was added on after the campaign was over, and you can get it as a separate item. So those who went for the all-in or the core tiers, you're already getting Spirit Ashes in the form of tokens. These are things that were conceived after and put into the Pledge Manager to be ordered separately. They would be included with your production of Elden Ring, the board game. Now, this kind of has drummed up a bit of controversy. A lot of people saw these Spirit Ashes, which are, again, entirely cosmetic. You don't have to have these to play the game. You don't have to have these to use Spirit Ashes in Elden Ring, the board game. Spirit Ashes in the board game are represented already by tokens, which are already included in all of the versions of the game because it's a basic mechanic. But since they're not included in for free with the other tiers, that's caused a bit of an insight upset in the comments. So that's one thing to be mindful of. To me, these are representative of an opportunity that SteamForged Games took to create something because they had the means to do so thanks to the successful funding of the campaign, and they went these extra steps to make this available to us. Did they have to do that? Absolutely not. Is the game better for it? That really depends on how much more cosmetic you want your game to be. I want these. I've got them added to my order because I love Spirit Ashes in Elden Ring, and I love how beautifully represented they are in these minis. I think we might be looking at prototypes of the actual minis themselves. I don't think that these are just 3D renders. So if it's any indication of what we're actually going to see when we open our boxes, they're lovely, they're beautiful, they're great. And it's actually caused a bit of discussion in the SteamForged Games Discord about how they might handle the possibility of invaders and bloody fingers and the like. These see-through minis, they're cast with this translucent resin or plastic, and just having a bit of a red dye to them could really give us very accurate miniatures for the invaders that you come across in Elden Ring. The recusants, the bloody fingers, that sort of thing. Anyways, I think they're fantastic. I don't have anything bad to say about them. I don't think it's a bad business practice to say, oh, we've got extra money. We can actually put some time and some effort into making something else that we couldn't get out to everybody for free, but we didn't plan on making these anyway, so it's not like that was really part of the plan. So we're going to make this lovely, awesome cosmetic item for anybody who wants to go a little further and buy them. I think there's people canceling their orders because these weren't added in for free. I think that's so silly. Like, your feelings are valid, but my goodness, why the action? Why the action of the cancellation? That makes no sense to me at all. Go calm down. Have a coffee. Subscribe to my channel. I'll chill you out one way or another. Yeah, these are going to look fantastic on the table. They're just going to look great. They're just going to look so great. The Spirit Ashes are exclusive and will not go to general retail. So that is for us who get in on this pledge manager right now. Exclusive in this case means if you didn't back the original, you do have access to the pledge manager. You can come in here, you can confirm order, but this is one of the things that you can actually get right now if you go through the pledge manager. You won't be able to get them later through retail. Retail meaning probably only available on the SteamForged Games website. I don't see this game appearing at your friendly local game store unless it's custom ordered and you're willing to simply pay the overhead to support your friendly local game store. We could also see additions to the Spirit Ashes. There are so many Spirit Ashes in the game, and there are other classes of Spirit Ashes which are represented more like by blue figures, so that's not something that's come to fruition here. I'm just talking about the video game specifically, but it's something that we might be able to look forward to. It's something that they have room to kind of grow into. Would be amazing to see. Next, they have the dual layer player boards. The game already comes with player boards, so these are not necessary. They're just cosmetic. Again, this is an item that SteamForged Games sought to create after the successful end of the campaign, and they've made it available. So if you go through the Pledge Manager, again, just like Blythe and the Spirit Ashes, these are exclusive. They will not go to general retail, but you do have the opportunity now to add them to your order. You can get these even if you didn't back the original campaign. And this could be really exciting news for those of you who missed out on former SteamForged Games deals. As an extra bonus you'll get by pledging for a SteamForged project, we've also added a limited number of heavily discounted backer bundles to the Pledge Manager. If you've pledged at the entry, core, or all-in levels, you'll have access to these bundles, which include limited quantity exclusives and direct-only items you can usually only get from our web store. So if you wanted, say, the entire everything bundle for Dark Souls, the tabletop game, that's available now through the Pledge Manager if you were a pledger. So they're in the Pledge Manager. I'm pretty sure if you go in there, even if you didn't pledge the original campaign, if you go in there now and get access to it, you should be able to add those to your order as well. So if you've got the money to spend and you one giant house-sized box of board game goodness isn't enough for you, which it never is. I know that life. I understand. You're not going to get any judgment from me. Then you can get a second or third big house-sized box of board game content by ordering the bundles of stuff that they have through the Pledge Manager. There's a lot. There's a lot. I'm pretty sure that there's Dark Souls, the tabletop game and the RPG, and I'm pretty sure you've got access to some Resident Evil stuff. There's some other properties there too that I'm not too familiar with. Bard Sung might be in there. I don't think I can see the Pledge Manager right now, or at least I don't have the time right now. The clock is ticking. Let's go. Here is the statement from Sherwin from SteamForged Games. I want to read it verbatim because I think it's very important that the company was transparent in this way, and I think it's really noble of them to acknowledge past mistakes as well as the perception of mistakes being made right now with these items that were developed after the crowdfund ended. To me, we're getting so many things in the crowdfund campaign as it is. Nothing else is necessary. Nothing else needs to be added. We knew what we were getting at face value. We had the opportunity to peruse every square inch of what materials could be there. Couldn't see things like game mechanics details or anything like that, but I mean, we knew that we couldn't see that stuff, and we pledged anyway because we wanted the product to come out. We wanted to get a copy of that product. I want the Flying Dragon Agheel expansion. I've got that. Airtray Avatar. I've got that. I went ahead and got Stormvale Castle. I've got the Weeping Peninsula. All of that stuff is going to come to me once this is done. And that's true of every single backer who had access to the campaign and whoever goes in and checks out the Pledge Manager now. But some people believe that the making these new products available constitutes some sort of ripping off. They think that they should be entitled to these new things for free right away, right now, even though it wasn't part of the campaign, it wasn't part of the plans. And I kind of understand the feeling of, oh, how dare you make more stuff? I already had my money allocated, and it's not fair that you want to completely disregard my pledge and make more stuff. I want to refund. At some point, it doesn't make any sense. You know, I understand the sentiment. It's just the logic behind it's not there. So, I mean, I don't get it. I'm not gonna get it. Maybe somebody could explain it to me. But enough about that. The statement that kind of addresses some of that from Sherwin here, 25 days ago. Hi, Tarnished. Sherwin here. I understand there's some questions and concerns around the new Pledge Manager add-ons. So here are the answers. First, a quick introduction for those of you I haven't managed to speak with yet. My name is Sherwin Matthews, and I'm the lead designer for SteamForged Games. I've been with the company for the past 8 years, and in that time, I've been fortunate enough to work on incredible titles such as Resident Evil, Horizon Zero Dawn, Gears of War, Monster Hunter World, Dark Souls, and now Elden Ring, the board game. I'm also the product owner for Elden Ring, which means I'll be overseeing the design, development, production, and eventual delivery of your games. I want to start by assuring you the all-in does contain everything we plan to offer for this Kickstarter. The reason the Pledge Manager took longer than usual is because Blythe, the Half-Wolf, the Spirit Ashes, and Dual Layer boards weren't thought of or worked on until after the campaign ended. We added the new content because in past Kickstarters, it's something the community has asked us for. So once the Kickstarter dust is settled for Elden Ring, we sat down and looked at whether there was any extra value or new options we could offer backers here too. Although the numbers are telling us there's a large portion of backers who are happy with the new add-ons, we understand that's not the case for everyone. So we'll absolutely take that feedback on board when making future decisions. We're also listening to feedback from backers who are now unhappy about the all-in pledge being called all-in, and we'll take that on board for the future too. So I kind of do understand the logic behind that thought process as far as that being a point of contention. You called it all in. Why did you call it that and then release stuff that's not all in? But the point is, and I know that they're working on this, I'm kind of defending a dead horse, I suppose. When you look at the context in which the campaign was presented, all in meant you got everything that was in the campaign. It's still valid. It is absolutely valid. You're getting everything, period. You're not missing out on anything at all. These things that aren't part of the campaign would not be in that. They wouldn't be part of that all in. But that's just me being kind of spicy, counter spicy, I suppose. A few of you suggested the project's success means the new items should have been added for free. While we did have scope to add one of the new items for free, we've learned from experience to be responsible with projects. It isn't possible to do it all for all of the new items without jeopardizing the project. And that makes sense. As you might have guessed, Kickstarters are very tightly controlled when it comes to what's included. Everything has a cost implication, and that impacts the price of the item both to the end user and in terms of manufacturing. When a project is planned correctly and responsibly, stretch goals are always part of it. Sadly, there are plenty of examples of projects where this wasn't the case, which are now struggling to deliver. We'll be the first to hold up our hands and admit that Dark Souls the board game was one such project. So we've acknowledged that Dark Souls was something that might have tainted some folks' view of SteamForged games. But it's very, very important to understand how somebody corrects that mistake, how they can recognize, first of all, that they did make errors during a process. And this is just really, really good to think about in life, at the workplace, at home. If somebody makes a mistake, and it is objectively a mistake in some context, isn't it important that they acknowledge it? And then if they can acknowledge it, isn't it important that they can work to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again, that they can learn from that mistake, that they can improve on the way that they do things going forward? And if so, isn't it really important that we can acknowledge that they're doing that? I think the answer to all of those questions is yes. But I'm happy to discuss why that answer could be different in the comments below. Back to the post. The reason we've managed to successfully fulfill multiple Kickstarters since then is because we learned and are now very careful when planning costs required to make and deliver your pledges without needing to ask for extra funds later down the line. So our options then were either to not add the new cosmetic items at all, or to add them in a way that meant those who'd like them would still have the option to get them, which is what we did. We're taking feedback on board for future Kickstarters that some backers might have preferred the dual layer boards instead. The add-ons are entirely optional, fully cosmetic, and won't affect your gameplay if you don't have them. Certainly not mandatory, as we didn't want anyone to feel beholden to getting them lest they miss out on gameplay. If you went all in, you're still getting the full experience, and you won't feel like you've missed out when those huge boxes arrive. And I want to echo every sentiment here. Getting the cosmetics don't affect the gameplay, just the presentation of it. The dual layer boards, you get boards for your character already in the game. The Spirit Ashes, you get tokens for those already in the game. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, who would pick tokens over Spirit Ashes? Miniatures. Well, when there's not a choice, of course, you're going to pick the tokens, and you're going to know that those tokens exist because you backed the pledge that contained the tokens. You'll still get the tokens. You'll still get those. The Spirit Ashes are just an extra optional thing. So anyways, that is the extent of all of the updates. There are some comments here that are kind of dumpster fiery, but I mean, I won't look at them. I don't want to out anybody. If I did, I'd be blocking out the names, but I don't want to give attention to them. The comments aren't all negative anyway. There's a ton of positivity in the comments section here. There's a lot of, I can't wait to get this. There's a lot of gameplay questions, a lot of questions about mechanics, how certain things are handled. And I'm sure that we'll get the reveal to that in due time. For now, you can check out all of the stuff that is available through the Pledge Manager. There are so many pictures, there are so many descriptions, there are so many things shown here on the Kickstarter page. It's all still here for you to peruse, to see if you can't convince yourself to drop hundreds of dollars on mountains of gray plastic and cardboard bits. Oh, there's the Warrior, by the way. And that's exactly what Nefelilu looks like. That's not the warrior, it's the hero. That's exactly what Nefelilu looks like, though. And that's actually the class that I started as when I began Elden Ring. My character looks nothing like that now, but that's definitely my favorite, and that's who I'm going to start with when I start playing Elden Ring, the board game, here on the channel, solo play. And if you're not convinced through pictures, SteamForged Games has 2 videos on YouTube showing you press preview as well as gameplay, and there are 4 independent videos have got nothing to do with SteamForged Games that show you gameplay as well as a few other elements in the game as well. So, I don't know, last time I did a video on this, I had a couple of comments about Kickstarters and how garbage they were, which that's valid. Some of them are, not all of them at all by any stretch, but some of them are absolutely there just to take your money. And those people are actually kind of normally held accountable, and they get into a lot of trouble for that. And that the gameplay videos were subjective and that they were from the company, so how could you trust that? I didn't understand that at all, because what the heck do you mean subjective? It's gameplay. It's a video showing you how the game is played. What? But anyways, there's 4 non-SteamForged Games videos linked right here in the Kickstarter, so if you haven't checked them out, please do so by now. I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I'm going to be sure to cover any more updates to this as soon as I can, when and if they do release. So, I think we can expect monthly updates to some extent. I don't know exactly what would be in those updates. I doubt that they're going to give us any more stuff. I think that we might get a look at some of the things that are included. Maybe higher resolution pictures, maybe a couple of rule previews. Anyway, links in the description below. That is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Comment anything you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.